All right, guys, we are back with another episode of Let's Talk Snowboarding presented by Mountain Vibes. And we are here with Jessica Woffinden, who is from up here in North Idaho. We are here at Fine Brewed Coffee in downtown Coeur d'Alene.
Yep.
And we are very stoked to have her. Jess, how are you doing?
Thanks. I'm doing great, Dylan. This is really cool. It's fun setting all this stuff up with you and like kind of getting the behind the scenes beforehand. And yeah, it's really fun to be here and be on this kind of podcast and just talk snowboarding and good vibes. So, yeah.
Yeah, we hit it hard when we got here. We were kind of scrambling to get everything set up. This is our first really live podcast with probably some good production quality and stuff. As you guys have seen, we've kind of thrown together a couple things, but mainly we've been doing remote podcasts. But we are stoked to be bringing you guys more good quality podcasts and doing these live things, and Jessica is going to be a big part of that, and we are stoked to have her, and hopefully this thing keeps on continuing. So I just want to say thank you again.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, this is fun. This is what I do now, so it's like a bunch of video and production, so this was a great opportunity to kind of use my skills and use it for something that I'm really passionate about. So
yeah. And we've talked about that, like so let's take it back. I want to hear like what your introduction was into snowboarding and kind of how you got into it. What was a young Grom Jessica looking like? What was it like?
Okay, well, young Grom Jessica was 19, so it was not very young. I was in college and my roommate had a snowboarding class that she went to. And so she had a snowboard, and so she took like a few of us to a hill that was literally at the school. Like it was just like, I don't know, like 10 feet of like a little slope. And I snowboarded that without falling. And I was like, this is the coolest sport ever. I got to do this. So being like 19, 20, like I did it a little bit every now and then. And then like on like the back hills, like not even like at a ski resort. And then when I moved back to Tri-Cities from college, I went to BLUEWOOD, and I went there and like officially learned how to snowboard. And that was probably like I was like 2021 was like the official. Yeah, so
BLUEWOOD. Anybody out there know BLUEWOOD?
Please, if you know BLUEWOOD, comment it, because or if you're on the comment, whatever. This is on YouTube and Spotify and stuff too. So yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah.
We put it out there on all platforms, and then we also we always put it up on YouTube for that video platform too. But yeah, BLUEWOOD, dude. I used to drive truck for a long time, and I would go from Walla Walla to Lewiston was part of my route, and I would always see the turnoff to BLUEWOOD. And I've had many instructors come up to, Schweitzer up here and stuff like that are from BLUEWOOD, and they're just like, oh, it's such a cool little hill.
Yeah.
And it's just has great vibes and stuff like that. What was, going up to BLUEWOOD, what was that like?
Okay, so there was a season, there was a 2020 or 2013 to 2014 season that like me and a few friends went nearly every weekend. And so every Saturday we'd go and we'd do that like hour-and-a-half drive or like 2-hour drive to BLUEWOOD from Tri-Cities. And it was so cool. The Blue Mountains actually have blue fog, which I didn't know that's a thing, but it's a thing. There is such thing as blue fog. We're like, what the heck? Like that is blue. That is like, we can't deny it. Like that's blue. So it was cool. And then once you get to the mountain, we had no cell reception and no internet connection. So it was totally cut off, and it was like a retreat from the world in a way. So you're able to get out there and just be like, just focusing on snowboarding and just focusing on yourself and improving. And that was one of the biggest things. Like that's one of the biggest things that I loved about going there was repetition with friends and feeling like you were going, like checking out of the world and really like checking in with yourself and being like, hey, like, how are you doing? Like, how's Jessica doing this week? Like, what are you going to work on? And being totally focused on that, which, even back then that was you know, it was the norm to just be on social media, and nowadays it's even worse. Like, you know, like back then it was like, oh, you got a GoPro? Like, that's crazy. Like, you're filming? Like, that's nuts. And now today it's just like, if you don't have a GoPro, are you a snowboarder? You know, it's like,
yeah, it seems like, yeah, the GoPro era has really taken over. Like everyone is just kind of always like, and that's something that I personally love what's going on right now. I love that all the pro riders are like starting their YouTube channels, and there's just such a buffet of different types of snowboarding that you can consume, whether it be on YouTube or Instagram or anything. It doesn't matter, and that's what's going to appeal to many people to get into the sport.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of people that have been watching, like Snowboard Jesus has a ton of reels, and like he even has like people that comment on them like, I started snowboarding because of you. Like, I got better at snowboarding because of you. And it's just like, I mean, he wasn't even on my radar until this last season. And so I feel like every season, like there's going to be new people that are out there trying new stuff. Like, hey, this week I'm going to try a 180. This week I'm going to do this. And everybody can be unique on there as well. Like, I'm a big fan of video and snowboarding. So yeah, I definitely say like, that's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's nice to be able to, you know, like you create awesome videos and you have your own style and people recognize that kind of stuff. I have my own style. I do videos like, and then everyone else, like you said, Snowboard Jesus, like, and Half Cap King.
Yep.
And they've like kind of paved the way. There's a new, you know, influencer out of Tahoe now. Her name's Tahoe.meg. And those guys inspired her to like start her own thing. And now she's blowing up and stuff. And that's kind of like, that's what's so cool is like, for a while, the sport was kind of, I don't want to say it was down, but it wasn't like, the creativity was kind of like, you have to be core, you know, like you have to do this and stuff. But now with all the platforms that we have, like people can go out and be creative and stuff in their own way. And it's what's like enticing people to, you know, go out and try. And I told David Half Cap King, I was like, I just wanted to thank, I thanked him for what he did, because he took instructing and he took it out on the hill and he did for free for everybody. And he helped so many people. And I can't tell you how many students that I've had that have taken a lesson. And like, what got you in this snowboard? Like, I watched Snowboard Jesus. I watched this, you know, I watched these things. And that's that's just awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So, let's kind of fast forward a little bit. Okay. So, you know, you grew up going to Bluewood.
Yep.
Are you from Southern Idaho, or what was your hometown?
I mean, I was born in Portland. So, but then like I moved when I was 8, but I was always like, Portland's my hometown. But like I've lived in New Mexico, Wisconsin, Washington, Hawaii, other side of Idaho to Rexburg, Moscow, Idaho, and then Post Falls is where I'm at now since 2021. So I moved a lot, like as a kid because my dad's job. And then I moved because I didn't know like what college I wanted to go to a bunch. So, and I did that, and then moved to Moscow when my, at the time boyfriend, but now husband, went to Moscow, U of I. And so then we moved up here in 2021. So yeah, that's kind of been my journey, I guess, of moving.
So you said, so I lived in Portland for almost 10 years, and that's where I kind of started like working at the mountain stuff up at Timberline and stuff. What area of Portland were you in?
Happy Valley.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Southeast. Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was the coolest thing. I was like, wow, I grew up in Happy Valley. It's like the happiest place on earth. Like, it's pretty cool. But yeah, Timberline, actually, I went to the High Cascade camp one year. And we went up to Timberline, and that place is so cool. That's like where they filmed The Shining. If you've seen part of that, like part of that's in there. They even have an axe that you can go to like the front desk guy, and he has an axe that says like, "Here's Johnny." So you can do like a picture with it, and it's like, ooh. That place is really cool. And I didn't know this until like right before I went, but I think my great grandma used to work there when it started, and like helped make the curtains. Like she was like a seamstress or something, or like, like, so I was like, oh, like Timberline is like the coolest lodge that I've like ever been in. It is so cool. And Mount Hood is like such a unique feel. And to I mean, I went in there in the summer, so I'm sure like during the winter, even just year round, like it's just a different planet.
I can't tell you how much Mount Hood means to me personally. Like Mount Hood almost like saved my life along with my wife and stuff, and snow, and like Mount Hood, snowboarding, and my wife on this current day. Like those are kind of what happened for me to get into the sport. And if no one's ever been to Mount Hood, if the listeners, you guys got to get up to Mount Hood. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. You can go in the summer. You can go up to the solstice party on June 21st. You can go in the middle of the winter. You can go anywhere and have fun. Ski Bowl is amazing in the winter. It has some of the best terrain ever. But Mount Hood, all the homies up there, just shout out, dude. Like everyone up there is just so cool. And the vibe is all time. Yeah. And that's awesome to hear. I know Happy Valley pretty well. When I was driving truck and stuff, sick. I would deliver out to Happy Valley. So that's super sick. And it's cool to hear, like, you've kind of gone to a lot of places, and so have I. Like, I've kind of traveled a lot during my time and through my youth in college and stuff like that. You mentioned Moscow. Did you go to school in Moscow for a while?
My husband did. He was at U of I.
Okay.
Yep. So I worked, I was doing school online, and then I decided to work like full-time and a part-time job. So I had 2 jobs and worked while he went to school so that we could get him through school.
Okay.
Got through school. Yeah.
And what did, if you don't mind me asking, what did he go to school for?
He went to school for mechanical engineering.
Wow.
So he is an engineer now. He graduated. Cool. He helps build airplane parts right now. Oh. So he works in Post Falls, and yeah, his family's Air Force. So he grew up loving airplanes, and his dream job would be honestly like building military planes, like helping design them and make them better. And like he's a huge fan of military and our Air Force. Yeah, so
that's awesome.
Yeah, and just thinks like an engineer. Like engineers just think so cool. So
very cool.
So yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I've had a couple friends that live down in Moscow, and I've been down there honestly to go watch the Ducks play. You know, the Cougars.
Yeah. Because you're from you're just like, go Ducks.
Yep, go Ducks,
That's
go
cool.
Ducks. But yeah, so living in Moscow, you kind of been all over the place, as far as like going around and being places. So what made you decide, like, you guys kind of have settled up here a little bit?
Yeah.
What was the appeal of that for you guys?
Oh my gosh, North Idaho is gorgeous. Like when we were in Moscow, we'd come up to Coeur d'Alene and Spokane area a lot. Like we airsoft in the summer. So we have a field that we go to in the summer in Spokane, past Spokane. And we just loved like the area up here. It was like, wow, like it's the mountain vibes that we love, And then it was also just like, like we've both lived a lot of places, and we really like Idaho, like a lot. So we were like, man, like we would love to live up there. And then, so my husband graduated and had a job offer to go out to a place over in Kent, Washington.
Okay.
But this was also right when COVID hit. So then they were like, sorry, we can't hire anybody right now, so we can't hire you. And that sucked for like a year until they have a place out. They had a place out in Spokane too that they had. So they had Kent and Spokane and Arizona. And we were like, man, like even if we got that job at Kent, we'd still want to transfer out here. This would be like our dream. It's like, we want to live out here. We want to live in Idaho. So he applied to another job out at the one in Spokane, and he didn't get that, but they were like, hey, like we have a different position. Are you interested? Because we will hire you for that. And I was like, yes. So after a year, this is 2020. So then 2021, we were able to move up here.
Great.
So in a way it was like it worked out because we wanted to be up here anyways. So it was like, if we had just moved to Kent, and oh man, thanks goodness we didn't move there right before the pandemic, because they would have cut him. It would have been like, sorry, like you're out. And then we would have been living in Kent, where it's super expensive. Like, I mean, it's expensive here, but like.
And Kent
Seattle's
is not
insane.
very desirable,
no,
honestly.
No. And it's like, so So we were okay with, I mean, it was sucky, but we waited a year and then we were able to come up here. So, I mean, yeah, that was definitely God's hand being like, no, 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 you don't need to go to Kent. Like, we're going to take you straight here. Like,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
going to come to Idaho. We love Idaho. We don't know if this is like the forever spot, you know,
Okay.
like both of us have moved. I think anyone who's moved a lot, you just kind of accept that you might move again. Like, you don't really get roots the way that maybe some people are like, oh, I've lived here my whole life. And like, that's just how they are. And I feel like it would be a great place to live. Like this area, like Sandpoint is gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Like I would be happy moving to Sandpoint, but I mean, there's other places too. Like I'd love like being in Utah, like Park City area, like near more Olympians would be really cool. Cause like as a videographer, like I like now, like I'm less into like trying to compete and snowboard. Like I've competed before, but now it's more of the focus is on helping others kind of shine. Cause I just realized like I was just not going to be as good as like some of these people that are like 18. It's just like, yeah, like you've been snowboarding since you were able to walk. Like there's just, I respect it. I respect that you are so good. I will never be that good, you know, no matter what I do. So, but would love to work with people that love this sport too, that I can help out.
Yeah.
You know. So.
And yeah, and I feel like that's why I feel like you and I have like kind of formed a pretty quick, you know, friendship, because we both kind of have that same thought process. And something that I don't know, I've never told you before, but I kind of did the same thing with my wife. She went to nursing school back when we were in Vancouver, Washington.
No way.
And I worked driving truck. I had a really good job that paid a lot of money and delivering around Portland and up to Seattle and through the region and stuff. And so like, you know, I kind of supported her while she like got her degree in that. And she already had a degree. She had a teaching degree. And so she has multiple degrees. She's kind of an awesome badass.
Just does a bunch of things.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's cool.
But yeah, and so now, you know, transitioning up to here, you know, she has a great job up here at the hospital, and we have two kids now. And so she's allowed me to like kind of pursue my passion of doing like the podcast and stuff and staying home with the kids. And it's just really cool to like hear like, you know, you give and take in those situations.
Yeah.
And if you're with the right person, then it doesn't really matter. Like you guys are a team. And so somebody works, somebody doesn't work, you know, you kind of just go with the flow and whatever works. So, but I understand that like you saying like, we love it up here and it's beautiful, but you know, you never know, like maybe we'll go down to Utah, and that's like kind of our thought process too.
Yeah.
Like we love it up here. And this will always kind of be like home base, I feel, but you know, we'd love to go out to Montana. We'd love to go down to Utah, go see Tahoe, maybe stay, and she could travel nurse and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but that's super, super cool. That's great to hear. I love to hear that.
Yeah. For us, it was definitely like he got the job out here, and all of a sudden it was like, hey, like, what are you going to do, Jessica? Like, do whatever you want. Like, you can do whatever you want now. Like I had worked since I was 16. So it was like, I mean, we got here when I was 30. So then it was like, okay, like, what do I want to do? Like, actually, I can choose now, like, what do I want to go into? And for a while, I was like, I don't know. Like this, I don't know. That's a big decision. I kind of felt those feelings of like not being as like needed, or like I think I was dependent on for so long that felt like that was my role, and that felt so fulfilling for me that when it was like switched, where it was like, all right, now I've got someone like providing for me with a great job that we both like worked towards, that it was suddenly just like, well, what can I do? Like, where's my role in this? And like it just made me dig deep and be like, okay, like what are the things that I'm really passionate about? Like what are the things that I love? And for me, it was like a reminder that I love video and I love snowboarding. And so I've been trying to do that a lot, even just this year, with trying to just be more aware of like what I love. And like, I think it's so important that when you find what you love, if you can find a way to build others up with that, you're going to have more success in that than anything else, because it's something that you're passionate about. I feel like, like the Wright brothers, right? Like they loved aerospace and they made airplanes. Like if it had been anybody else that was just like, we need you to make an airplane, they probably would have, but it wouldn't have been as great because of how much like they loved that, like they were the pioneers. They were the first ones to like try something. And so I feel like a lot of people, it's like, if you love something, like go for what you love. And try it out and see what happens, because you're going to do way better than I think you're going to do.
Right.
Like you're going to do way better than others are going to do after a while, because you are going to stick with it. It's what you come back to.
Yeah. And that's so true. It's like you said it. You're like, you snowboarded for a long time. You competed, and then you're like, okay, like I think I've had my time. What can I do now to like help the next generation, or people that may not be get recognized? And that's the same thought process that I've had too. I'm like, yeah, you work up at the mountain, you do all this stuff, like, but I know like what my limits are, and I know I'm not going to be, the stuff that I do is not going to look that sick.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
and I get stoked when, I get out there and I just like get clips for like these guys that are so talented.
Yeah.
And they deserve, and the guys and the gals, like whoever wants to go out and film, like I don't care. Like I'll post up at a rail, I'll post up at a jump and just film as much as I can. And that's something that I respect so much about you, is like you do the same thing. Like you donate your time, like, and that's something I wanted to talk to you about. Like, you have all these things going on. Like you work for Jam for Cans, the rail jam event up here and stuff, and you donate your time for that. But you and I talked the other day, and you said that you kind of have your own business and you do marketing and videography and photography. What does that kind of look like? What are you photographing?
Yeah, definitely. So, all right. So I have a business, Woffinden Studios, that is specifically to help businesses with their content. So like right now, like I've got people coming to me and they're like, hey, we need a video promoting an event that's coming up. We just need people to know like what it's about, where they can sign up. And so like, that's something that I do. I help out with like social media. So if they're just like, hey, like we really need, it's like you're using video to solve a problem. Like it's kind of complicated to really explain in words, other than being like, I make videos that really just solve problems. Rather than just be like, oh, I just put a video just for the sake of a video, or a photo for the sake of the photo. Like for snowboarding, it was like I helped out with Jam for Cans. We had an event coming up. We knew how many people, like how many cans we wanted raised for it. So it was like, all right, now we just like promote that. And we knew like our sponsors. So I was like, let's go after these sponsors and get them to like share like what it is that they offer. So Ski Shack being like, hey, if you need your board like tuned up before you go, come on over. We're going to be at Jam for Cans. We're going to help out. We'll see you there, So that's kind of the business stuff of what I do. And then it just bleeds over into what I'm trying to actually make. Like I would love to make my whole business snowboarding. Like if I could. So if there is a snowboarder out there listening that is in the like Sandpoint, Schweitzer, Silver Mountain Lookout, Mount Spokane area, Mount Spokane probably not, because that's like, but anyway, if you're in the area, I would love to just like work with an athlete that is serious about competing and getting sponsors that I could film, that I could help them get their name out there. Because I feel like if you're a snowboarder or skier, like it's so hard for you to showcase what you do, because you're trying to ride, so it's hard to film at the same time. Like you just can't. Like you just can't. Like you have to have your friends, and like you hope that your friends are gonna get the shot, or but some of them really aren't patient. They're just like, come on, like let's go ride. It's like, I get that. But yeah, I mean, so like you had on the show, you had Lucas Foster on the show. He has a videographer, photographer that I follow. His name is Jeff Urban, I think is how you pronounce his name. Yeah. It's got an extra H in there. So I follow Jeff, and I've been messaging him like, how do you do this? Because what you're doing is exactly what I want to do. Like he follows these athletes around. He goes to the X Games with them. Like he films, he's their content person, and he works directly with the athlete, is like who he works with. So, and it's just trying to get my name out there and be like, hey, this is what I do. And maybe there's someone out there that is looking for that. That's, you know, it'll be a good team, you know, and like
put an edit together, whatever you want to do and stuff. But yeah, that's great because, you know, it's all about like, because you said like anytime you pull up somewhere, like, you know, I pulled up last week on Tuesday and I just sat at the knuckle in the stomping grounds at Schweitzer. And I was like, I'm just gonna film stuff because it's super sick. And everyone will come up to you. They'll all come up to you. You're filming? Who are you filming for? What are you doing? What are you doing? That stuff. And I'm like, and this like kids that I never have met before, you know, maybe knew them through some people that I knew up at Schweitzer, but they were stoked. And I was like, yeah, I'll put together clips for you and just shoot me a DM. This is my Instagram. And, you know, I'll send a clip over for you and I'll get you that clip. And because they were all so curious, like, did you get that? I'm like, yeah, I got that.
Did you get my shot?
Yeah.
Everyone wants their shot. I mean, snowboarding is such a unique sport. It's like you want to, like I don't know. It's one of those sports that's like you already feel really cool when you're up on the mountain, whether you're a beginner or not. Like you feel cool, like putting on your board, putting on your jacket and going up the lift. You're like, I look cool. I've got goggles. Like I look like Shaun White, you know, like I look like Travis Rice, like regardless of who you're like idolize or whatever, like it's, you feel good. So you want people to see that too. Like you want to show it off, you know?
Yeah. Coach Prime says, you look good, you feel good, you play good, they pay you good.
Hey, that's good.
But yeah, awesome. Yeah, Deion Sanders, shout out. But that's awesome. That's kind of what I was talking about. Like I talked to Lucas about this back when we did our episode, and it was so cool. Like he basically, like back in the, you know, very primitive days of GoPros and stuff, him and his friends would just go out and they would just film each other, you know, and that's how, and then it's like one of his best friends, Cedar, who filmed him growing up, he now has like his whole career as a photographer and a videographer, and he goes and does stuff, and, you know, Spenny, Gimbal God, paved the way for so many people like Cube and Lou and Russell 6ix9ine and all these like new photographers that are now pairing with pro snowboarders and putting out this awesome content, behind the scenes raw videos and everything. And it's great to see. And it's like, there's a lane for that. There's a lane for you to get in there and do that. And it's absolutely, it's so awesome.
Yeah. It's a growing sport too.
All right. Awesome. So yeah, we're talking about the whole, you know, filming thing.
Yes.
And, you know, videography and photography.
Yep.
What would you rather get, a sick photograph or a sick clip?
Oh, okay. That is a great question. Photograph.
Okay.
Because I can print that out on my wall. I can't put a video on my wall. You know, like, I love video. I think there's I was thinking about this. I think a video tells you the story, right? It like tells you what you need to do. That's how we consume stuff. It's like, it's so easy to consume things with a video. It'll just tell you what you need to know. And you're like, great, I got it. A photograph, it's like, you have to figure out the story. Like you have to look at all the, like, it's like a puzzle piece. Like you're putting a puzzle together and you're like, okay, where was this shot? Or like, you'll see these different details of like, oh, it's snowing that day. Like they've got this and that. When I really got into snowboarding was 2014. I went to like a ski swap and they had some magazines that were there, snowboard magazines. And I took those and I ripped out the pictures and I put them on my wall. So, and then I went to BRU, Hawaii. And so when I was in Hawaii, I put them on my wall, which was like the weirdest thing. My Hawaiian roommate was like, what the heck? Like, you know, there's no snow in Hawaii, right? And I'm like, yeah, I know. But like, I was able to look at these photos and I was like, these are like moments that are so cool. Like there was one where it was like these two guys in the back of a truck, a pickup truck. And they were just sitting there and they had their snowboard boots and goggles on and their snowboards were by them and there was snow, it was snowing and they were like smiling. And I was like, that is like a cool moment. Like I would love to capture that because that's what that feels like. Like snowboarding feels like you're in a movie. Like it feels like you're just in a different world. And so I feel like a photo can capture that better than in a way than a video. it's just in a different way. It's
Yeah.
just that, you know, like, yeah. So that's a really good question, because as much as I love video and I love stories, like I would love to work with Red Bull Media. Like Art of Flight is still like my favorite snowboard film ever. Like Kurt Morgan is brilliant. But I think that I would have a photo if I had to choose of a moment. It would be a photo.
Yeah.
So and
One-
be like,
Yeah, one photo can change the world sometimes. Like,
yeah.
and you know, you respect the video too, because you know that's kind of what pushes the content machine, and
Right.
that's what the younger generations really lean towards. But whenever you get like just that shot, a sick photo, whatever it may be in, it could be just anything. It's really influential. And you know, you and I have talked, like Pete Alport out of Bend. You know,
Yes.
just
He's so cool. I've been following him lately. He's great. Thanks for that.
Yeah, and he's just such a cool dude, and you know, he's just like a very calming presence, calming individual, and the fact that he's just like a sick photographer, and everything is just so awesome. Like I was checking out his stuff the other day, and I was like showing my wife, I'm like, hey, what do you think about, maybe should we buy one of these? And you know,
I know, you're just like
and she's like, yeah, we could, but you know, we could also
if he has one of Mount Hood, you could buy that one.
Oh yeah,
So he's got Bachelor.
He has a really awesome one of him at the south end of Trillium Lake at dawn.
Oh,
it's a really great shot of Hood. Yeah,
I've been there
with the
So
wildflowers and
cool.
stuff, and
That is so cool.
but yeah, it's crazy to me. Like the you know, he spoke on this in our episode, which will be coming out you know, next week on Friday.
Great.
Check it out. But he said that, you know, sometimes his iPhone is some of the best shots he's ever taken. You know, you don't have, like, it's great to have like a nice long lens and a nice camera and stuff. It really does wonders. But the fact of the matter is, like, the phones now are just out of control with how great the cameras are.
Yeah. Yep. I've got the Samsung S Galaxy S22 Ultra.
Yeah.
Whatever. You know, like the one before it was like the 24. That's major. But yeah, it's insane. I mean, they used it for the X Games. They're just like, hey, this is so good, we can broadcast this on national TV or international TV. It's like, yep, all right, okay. So yeah, use your phone. I mean, that's how we started recording. So like my iconic season, the 2014 season was such, it's like this huge moment in my life for lots of different reasons. But that was like the year that I went a ton. And so I have a story for you. So this is a story of like my role as far as like being a female snowboarder, because I feel like that's a topic that gets thrown out there a lot, but I have my own take on it. So 3 of us would go snowboarding pretty consistently. It was me, Zach, and Chet, and Zach is the one that I married. So 3 of us would go. We would go up to Bluewood. And then we would try to push each other. Like Chet was really good at skateboarding and longboarding. And so it showed a lot on the mountain. So he was doing like lots of little tricks and stuff. And so Zach and I were like, okay, like let's try to do this. Let's start doing jumps. Let's start hitting like boxes and like features. Like Zach got a rail, but I've never done a rail. Like I don't like metal, so
Let's stay away from the steel.
That's just me, and I accept that now. But I was trying to do a tame dog, which I believe is like the front flip. So I was trying to do a front flip, right? And that's the roll, the flip.
Yep.
So I was trying to do it over and over, and I just couldn't get it. And so I was like, okay, guys, like stop filming, like don't film, like I'm just gonna go try to do this. And so we have a video where Chet is off on the side with Zach, and he's like, I'm totally not filming a video, like totally not filming Jessica. And I go and I try to do this flip, and I don't do it, you know, but like I really go for it, like I throw myself, and it's right by the lift, and that's where like they were at, and they heard the lifty say to someone that was coming off of the lift, they're like, that gentleman is intentionally trying to do a front flip. so Chet and Zach, like, they come up to me, they're like, you're a gentleman, Jessica. You are officially a gentleman. And I was like, that is so cool. So we named ourselves the 3 Gentlemen.
Nice.
It was so cool. And so, like, for me, like, I've heard lots of stories of women that have had like it really like it seems like it really affects them. Like they're really bothered by being a female in a sport. Like they feel like it's like, oh, it's just so hard and guys don't understand. So I'm just gonna like really stick out. And it's like, I've never had that. Like I just try to do my best. Like I try to have fun. The guys are the fun ones. Okay. Like I have more fun with them because they're pushing each other so hard in different ways that, you know, like I've just haven't found the same as many people, you know, not saying that there aren't women that do that, but it's just like, just go out there and ride. Like, it doesn't matter what your level is. It doesn't matter if it's just like, oh, like I'm a minority, like who cares? When you're out there, like people respect that you're trying and they're just like, oh, you're having fun. Like you're trying to do a front flip. Like that's what they care about. Like, yeah. So for me, that's my story on like what it's like being a female in the sport. It's like I respect that I'm not going to be as good as somebody else. That's not going to stop me from enjoying the sport.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, Pete, honestly, he talked about that in our episode. He's like, you know, he's like, this is an interesting observation. I see so many guys together all the time on the hill. Like the boys are together, and then, you know, they'll bring in, you know, like you said, like you go with ride with the guys. But he says, I rarely see like a large group of like ladies together out there on the hill. Like they're kind of solitary. Like they kind of only do it by themselves, whether it be, you know, he was talking about some Bend locals like Norbeck or Big Mountain Marissa, like, and they just kind of don't, it just, the community is a little bit less for that. And we were kind of discussing, I was like, why do you think that is? Like, it's like, but then, you know, you see some events that just happened like up in Nelson. There was a big mountain free ride event and it was ladies only. Ladies only up at Whitewater. And that was just so cool to see. And they were all vibing. They were partying every night. You know, it was just like seeing like the guys, you know, out on the hill. And that's something that I think is so cool. I think that might be like the next thing. Like more women are getting into the sport, especially now and stuff. And now like we can all like come together as a community, which it always has been. Like if you're it doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl, you're a snowboarder.
You're a snowboarder at the end of the day. That's right.
That's
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's a sport that, you know, it like a lot of people don't understand. Like that's what I identify as. I am a snowboarder, and that's who I always be until the day that I die. Like Travis Rice has said, like I'll ride till the day that I die, and I'll be a snowboarder till the day that I die until I can't do it anymore. And even when I can't do it, I'll still be it. I'll still be involved in the community. And that's what it's all about. It's just, it's amazing. It's amazing to see.
So if you feel like a minority, you're not. It's okay. Just get out there.
No,
like you're a snowboarder. Like that
trying.
Is who you are. And like even if, it's, I think you just said it perfectly. So it's just like that's who you are.
It's a vibe. Like you have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. Just from the history, like we're still not allowed at 5 resorts across the country. Which is amazing to me. I can't believe like Alta, what's up, dude? Like you guys need to get out of here with that.
That's all right. That's whatever. They can keep their snow.
Yeah, I guess so. But it's just funny. But it's like you have a little chip and you like you bond together and stuff.
I think that. Well, so snowboarding is still such a new sport. Like it didn't get into the Olympics till 1998 and then didn't get into Paralympics until 2014. Which I was like blown away by, but that was like, I was like, wait, what? Like the year that I started getting really good was like Paralympics was a thing. So I think like this sport is so young, you can join and still be a part of like, you can still be that pioneer. You can help the movement. Like you can shape it to be whatever it is. You know, I think it comes from a place where it's just like, hey, we're a little rebellious. We're a little bit more rowdy than like maybe skiers, you know, as like you like ski racers. But then there's skiers that are really cool too. Like they're out there doing like this even more of a vibe, you know, than like some snowboarders. And they just take it so chill and
shout out to Max
Yeah.
at Schweitzer.
Oh my gosh, Max is so epic. You guys should, follow Max.
And also shout out to Shansky at Timberline. Homie, I miss you. One of probably the coolest skier I've ever met in my life.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just a local govy, homie.
Yeah.
Super cool. Worked in ski school for a while, but
Yeah, I think it's just be a nice person. There's so many different types of cultures within snowboarding too. You've got so many different kinds. I mean, just look at all the brands out there, right? And how they identify a little differently. Like you're going to have white space that's going to appeal to different people. You're going to have, like Burton that's polling different people. You're going to have Never Summer that's polling different kind of people, even like Red Bull versus
Rockstar or Monster.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Those are huge. Yeah. Like you're going to see a different kind of video that comes out of those. And so it's just like finding your own place in it is kind of fun because you're able to really be like, hey, like I really like this person. And then you find people that like that person, like, oh man, like I really like watching Travis Rice. I really like watching Art of Flight. And then you find people that love that too. And they're like same page. It's like, yeah, it feels like flying. And it's like, yes, I know. Like, and so you're able to find people like that. Whereas other people are just like, oh, like I just like getting outdoors and like, it's just different reasons. Like just
this is the one I've chosen for snow.
Yeah, that's right.
This is how I deal with the winters.
Yep.
I snowboard a little bit.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, if you hate winter, try snowboarding. So
yeah, and
it'll help.
And even skiing, dude. Like
or
whatever
skiing,
you feel like.
Snowshoeing,
cross
country skiing.
So much to do, and like you said, like it's just like there's just like in snowboarding, there's so much different style. And there's so many different ways to consume it. And so you kind of find what you like, like I'm a big Monster energy guy. Like I love like every single rider that's been on the Monster team I like. Ståle Sandback is my favorite snowboarder of all time. And he was sponsored by Monster for a while. And, he brought in Gimbal God and did all these awesome projects and stuff.
Yeah.
Like The Golden Hour and all those awesome films. So I gravitate and I have loyalty to brands and stuff like that because we've been doing it for so long that we kind of like, this is what I like. This is how I want to look.
Yep.
Maybe I don't rock a helmet one day, maybe I do, but and so I wanted to talk to you, like you mentioned like, back when you were competing and stuff. So you got on the race board for a while.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Were you border cross mainly?
Border cross.
Okay.
Yes.
Bring back border cross the Olympics.
Okay. Right. Oh, is it out of the Olympics?
I have not seen it. It's something that has been kind of like a hot topic.
I thought it was in there.
I think they took it out for one or two, but listening to a lot of people, like the border cross is insane. I used to love watching that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically motocross, but on a snowboard, and you're going downhill, and you can do it skiing. There's ski cross too. So yeah, I got a story about that. So I went to the USASA Nationals for border cross, and so that was when I was in Moscow. I learned about USASA, which is like where pretty much every Olympian starts.
Yes,
and I learned that through that. Like that's just kind of like the programs that they have in place. It just brings people together to compete. So you're able to really see like what kind of level you're at. So it's easier for people who are really good to really shine. So that would be like my recommendation. If you're trying to compete, like start looking there. But yeah, so I figured out the one that's in our region. I went to that race. There was a race in Montana, and I was the only girl in the area and the only one in my age group. So there were like 3 of us that were going to go to nationals, or 2 of us that could go to nationals, 1 in the open that could gone to. So it was like you could do the age group or you could do the open, which is just versus like everybody. Okay. So there were 3 competitors and all of us were in different categories. So we all qualified for nationals. And so I was the only one of those 3 that went. And then I was the only girl in like, I think it's like 23 to 29 age group for women's in the entire nation that showed up for border cross. In the whole nation of the USA, I was the only one. So I automatically won because I was the only one there. So, and I brought my medal today to show you.
Oh,
it's like,
my
hey,
goodness.
We got some proof here. Okay. So you can take a look at that. So there you go.
Dude. That is so cool. Wow. That's awesome.
Look at that.
Dude, guys, come on.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
So
Wow.
crazy story with that though. So crazy story with that is like, okay. So through that experience, this was the experience that I was not expecting. Like, if you've ever had moments in your life that you were like looking forward to an experience and then it's not what you expected, this was that for me. Where, you know, like I'd watch movies like Miracle, where it's like all these like comeback stories of like this hardship that they go through and then they go and they win and all this stuff. So like I knew like I needed to get funding to get there. So I had a lot of people like help out. I was working at Domino's at the time and they sponsored me technically. Like they donated some money so I could go there. So I have a sticker on my helmet that's like, give us a rating of 5 stars, you know, and it's Domino's and it's great. But I go to this competition and I'm expecting to win. And even the final race, they were like, we're going to have you go against another girl that's in a higher age group. She's the only one in her age group too, but at least you're going to compete with somebody. So you can race somebody. You're both going to win, but you're at least at the same time. And she didn't even show up for the race. So I was the only one on the track. And I remember finishing and feeling like nothing had changed. Like there was zero fireworks and joy that I was expecting that like all these movies teach you, you know, like you're gonna win and it's gonna be like, wow, like you're so happy. And I just remember feeling like so empty and I was like, wow, this is so fake. Like this is, wow, like this, like people who win, it's not always the rainbows and stuff that you expect. And I don't know if maybe it was just because it was a different experience for me, but that was my experience. It was not the like, oh my gosh, I did something that was super hard and like, yeah, I've got this to show for it and I'm so excited. I was just like, man, like I spent so much money on this. I could have just been snowboarding more instead of like going out here. And like, it was a cool experience as far as I met some Olympians. I met Nick Baumgartner. I met Nick Deerdorf. He gave a really cool speech. Like he just won the World Cup for snowboard cross. Like that was a thing. So he was really cool. Nick Baumgartner was so nice. He was actually like talking with people at the starting gate. And like, I remember I even on my race, like I fell at the beginning and I hear Nick's voice being like, go Jess. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have an Olympian rooting for me. Like this guy is so cool. And so I was way more excited, I realized, to meet people who were really good at this and like admire their dedication than trying to celebrate my own because it just was empty. Like I put this away. Like I don't even like have this out in display or anything because to me it's just a hollow thing. Like you can have a title, you can have as many trophies as you want, but that doesn't really tell people like who you really are. And that doesn't really make you who you are. Like if you love to snowboard, you don't need a trophy to show that. You don't need a title that's like, oh, I'm the Shaun White. I'm the best person ever. Like Shaun White just loves to freaking snowboard. He loves to push himself. Like, and that's who he is. It's not the medals. It's not the titles. It's a person who is willing to just like do what they love. And so for me, that was when I pivoted. That was the unexpected experience. And I pivoted and I was like, competing isn't what I love. Yeah. And it's the sport that I love. And it's showing a story within a sport, you know? And so that's why I turned to video and photography is like, I want to tell stories of others who've had real like hardships, like those real things that they've gone through. Or that they are really good and they do deserve to be there. So, dude,
I feel that too. Like it's like you're speaking my language right now.
Awesome.
You know, I've been an instructor for almost 10 years now, and I've loved it. You know, I love to teach young kids, and I love to teach really anybody to get stoked on snowboarding and stuff. But honestly, like the bureaucracy of the entity, you know, is kind of like,
oh my gosh,
they're like, you have to pay us money for you to get your certifications, and you need to spend all this time. And then even then it's just like, I'm just not stoked anymore on it. And I just get so much more stoked, like talking with people like you, like doing the podcast, like going out and filming, whatever, you know, it doesn't have to be like, you know, it can just be a random day. And I just post up, like I said, and just like get clips for people and help those kids out. Like, and that I feel like I still can like do like mentor in that way and kind of be out there and be with people that I like, rather than like having to like go through all these loops and holes and like people telling me like, no, you have to do it this way. You can only, because everyone snowboards different. Like everyone rides different. It's an art, like it's a sport, and it's also an art form. Like you have your own style and stuff. So and that's what, I mean, that's what I love about it. And it's just so cool to hear that. Like, it's awesome, you know, like kind of went through like the same kind of, you know, you through the racing channel, me through like the instructing and teaching channel. Grant, I would still love to coach, you know, when I can and stuff. Like we've talked, you know, we've talked with Marty and stuff. And helping him out. Like new snowboard team up at Schweitzer right now.
Which I've now reached out to him to see how I can help out with that, you know, because it's just like something I'm passionate about. Yeah, I agree. I think there's, I mean, you know, anything that's kind of like a bigger corporation is always going to take something that you love and they're going to twist it in their own way because they, you know, need to make money off of it, or they need to do whatever, you know, but I think like just at the heart of it, like people will do and go through those loops and hoops and stuff because they do love it, and they're not doing it like for them, you know, it's for those companies in a way. They're doing it for themselves. You know, for snowboarding for me, so like another story here was I snowboarded really hard the season of 2013, 2014, because at that time I had been married to someone else and went through a divorce. And so for me, that was like right when snowboard season hit, and I was like, I'm going to start going snowboarding. So it was so nice to go up to BLUEWOOD, have no cell reception, and just be like totally cut off. And then healing through snowboarding like is so real. Like I know there's so many people out there with stories where it's just like they turn to a sport, skateboarding, snowboarding, like whatever it is, like they turn to that sport and they kind of like find who they are again, and they get confidence in who they are through the crap that they're dealing with in their life. And so that for me was snowboarding. Like it was a way for me to like have everything lifted off my shoulders. Like all I cared about was in that moment. Like you're able to focus on what you're doing. You're able to fly, you know, you're able to really like
be free.
But yeah, oh my gosh, like it's so freeing. And it was so freeing for me. And so then being with those friends that I had been with, like it was just every day going to the mountain was just like another layer of that pain just going away, just gone. And I think like for anybody, but for me, like snowboarding is that reminder, is just like, hey, like you've been through hard stuff and you survived. And like in snowboarding, if you fall, you crash. Like I've broken my arm, dislocated my elbow, like you survive, like you get through it, you know. Like Mark McMorris has, oh my gosh, that kid beats himself up so much. But like, why does he go back? Because he loves it. And it's if you love something like that, you get past those fears. You know, like I'm still kind of afraid of the chairlifts, just of how high it is, you know, and that's a real fear that like people have. And it's like, you got to kind of overcome those fears, and snowboarding helps you overcome fears and become a better person. And, you know, if it clicks for you, you get it. If it doesn't, like, you just don't get it. Like it's something else for you. But I feel like so many people gravitate towards snowboarding because it's a way that they just like can be themselves. Like you can just go out there, you can throw a trick how you want to throw it. You could do a line how you want it. Like no one's telling you what to do. You
pick out your gear and how you dress yourself and what you're going to wear that day, and that's your style. Like it's one of the biggest forms of self-expression that I've ever seen, you know, and it bleeds over into other board sports. Like skating is the same kind of way. Like
your skateboard is like part of your heart, like that's who you are.
Definitely. So, that's crazy to hear, because, you know, you mentioned Mark McMorris, and gosh, man, oh man, the man is just indestructible. I mean,
Truly,
he
truly, his face is just
yeah, and that's just the
iron. I
latest
don't
where
know.
you're like he's broken his legs, he's broken
Oh
everything.
yeah.
He almost died
He's
in
a
the Whistler
miracle.
backcountry.
I know.
Thank God
Oh my
for
gosh.
Craig being
He's-
there with him.
Yeah.
When that happened and stuff. Like I don't know if you've like seen the videos of that kind of stuff.
I saw a little bit of it. I mean, having dislocated my own arm while snowboarding, it's like I don't really like to focus on the pain part. It's not fun. It's not a fun thing. Because you're also not there. Like there's trauma that you go through, I think, in life. But like if you relive it, or you're not the person reliving it and you're watching it, you're gonna take it in a totally different way than like what actually happened. And so you might freak yourself out and be like, I can't do this because Mark died or almost died. Like it's just like, it's okay. Like that wasn't me, that wasn't my body. But you're right. Like he's dedicated to the sport.
I think for me, like I do like enjoy watching those struggles and things, because in the back of my mind, I'm like, dude, like, you have responsibilities and stuff at home and stuff like that. So you have to know your limits. And for me, like watching those things, like him going through all that stuff and like, basically like almost dying, barely making it out of the backcountry and getting to the hospital. I'm like, you need to respect them. Like everyone should respect the mountains, because it's an uncontrollable environment.
Absolutely.
Even if you're just on a groomer in a resort, like it doesn't matter, dude. There's people out there. There's the snow conditions can get gnarly. Yeah. And I've always told people like that come up, like you should feel good about yourself for your first time snowboarding. You know why? Because you got up early. You got all your gear in the car. You drove all the way here. You walked up here. And guess what? We haven't even started snowboarding yet.
Yep, that's right.
And it's crazy. It's like hours and hours and hours of dedication and work. And I think that's why we love it so much, because if it wasn't hard, then everyone would do it. And so that
is a good point. It is a hard sport. It really weeds people out. Like if people are like, this isn't for me, I'm just going to hang out the lodge all day, like then they're not going to go to the stomping grounds. Like the people that you see in the stomping grounds are the people that are like, okay, like even if they're scared to death and they're just like, I'm not even able to go over this knuckle, it's so big, like they're still there. Like that desire is there. They're like, I want to try something that scares me because I love it.
Yeah. Let's kind of go into, we've talked about like where you came from, how you got into snowboarding, what you're doing currently, like what are the next big plans for Jess right now? You're kind of, there's a lot of people that I talk to, you almost came out of nowhere on the snowboard scene in North Idaho, and everyone's really stoked. And you and I, we kind of did some filming, a week or so ago, a couple weeks ago up at Schweitzer, and you took photos, and we were working with some athletes up there, and everyone I talked to is just so impressed with like how like on the point you are, and your professionalism, and like you always like seem to like make sure that the shot is set up and everything's looking good, and you get the shots. Like if you guys haven't checked out Jessica's Instagram, go check it out, at Jessica Woffinden. And
DM me there if you want to
work and
work with me.
But as far as like you've kind of made a name for yourself already, so what are some things that you would like to like accomplish in the next like couple years, couple seasons?
Okay. I would love to work with a local athlete that loves Schweitzer. I mean, doesn't have to be Schweitzer. Schweitzer's really awesome though. Like the feeling that I get there, you kind of brought it up before with like how Mount Hood means so much to you. I feel like everybody has their home mountain that like, even if they go snowboarding somewhere else, it's not the same as their home mountain. That feeling that you get when you drive up that road, when you park your car, you get out of your car, you're going up to the lodge, you're getting your lift ticket or whatever. That feeling is so unique to your mountain. And Schweitzer kind of has that for me a little bit. And I think it was because I started making connections in this area. And then on the Snow Ghost Bank Slalom event and like the week leading up to that, like with you and filming, suddenly it was like, whoa, like I know people here. Like I feel like a part of this community. So would love to work with someone in the community that isn't afraid to try to see what happens. Like if they want to go big, like if you want to go into Red Bull, that would be a great sponsor, GoPro or whatever, you know, like Red Bull Media just has, they're just on it. They're just so good. And that type of professionalism is honestly like what really draws my attention is like, they're professional, but they're also like, there's that art style to it as well. It's really cool. So, man, like if I could choose, it would be working with Red Bull. It would be working with athletes that aren't afraid to go to competitions. Would love to go to the Knuckle Huck and be a personal filmer for an athlete there. Like I know that you have to like work through the X Games or whatever to get passes and stuff, but
Yeah.
gosh, it'd be so cool because I've watched like Lucas Foster and I think it's Taylor Gold that Jeff Urban like films for, and they're like these crazy athletes that go do this stuff, and even though they're not getting like podium every time or everything like that, you know, it's like you're still there and you're still a part of it. It's like that would be so cool.
You can still set up and film them doing just insane things in practice and stuff.
That would be cool. Also, natural selection. Would love to go film out there. That is such a cool event. Even reached out to like some of the photographers and filmmakers in that industry, like, hey, like if you need help, like let me know, because like they went to Canada that was in the Selkirks, like 6 hours north of us.
Yeah,
like we could have met up or maybe it's like 4 hours. Like it's close.
Oh yeah, Revelstoke is not a bad drive.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's close. So in the future that'd be really cool. But what I learned from asking these professional photographers is that you start locally. You just start local. You start making a name for yourself, and then it'll work out. Like you'll find the right people in the right avenue. And
yeah. And I mean, we have no shortage of talent up here.
True. There have been like professional snowboarders from this area. Like there is a professional snowboarder like sponsored by 32. Austin Viz, you know, is in the area. So
and he was just down at the Bombhole Cup and he kind of took it over down there.
Nice. Yep.
Big time. You know, we got the Hall. I mean, Maddie Hall, Emma Hall.
Yes.
Great free riders.
Oh my gosh, she is so cool. Maddie Hall is awesome.
Yeah.
I've met up with her. I've talked with her. I'm just like, hey, I could like be your videographer. So maybe next season that'll be a thing.
It's kind of like a trend now. Like a lot of people that are coming up and stuff, you know, they'll bring their photographer, videographer along.
Yeah.
And it's just getting more and more like, you know, like we were talking about, like the YouTube channels for these pro snowboarders are just so cool.
Yep.
Because everyone wants to, you know, create and they want to show like what they do and like inspire people and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's so sick. And I think you're right. Like you know, you just kind of try to make a name for yourself, and at some point you'll get a break. Yeah. And you could link up with these people and stuff. And you know, Mountain Vibes. Let's get to the X Games. You know, we've been at Do Tour before.
Let's do it.
Would love to bring it back. And I think the direction of the company is going to take us in that direction here in the next year or two. So yeah. It'll be awesome.
I think that'd be so cool. Yeah, working with an athlete or working with brands like I've made videos for Donic for fun, just being like, hey, like I've got a board, like I respect you guys. Donic is super cool. But yeah, if there's even like a snowboard brand out there that's listening that like you're just like, hey, like let's see what kind of content like this girl can make. Like I'm passionate about this. Like I want to do this. I can make you look good. Like please reach out.
And you're also working on your own project, a snowboard film right now.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, I've started making snowboard films this year because I was like, all right, and I didn't really realize it, but it's just like, if I want to work for Red Bull Media, I got to start making films that make me better at that one day, you know, like it's almost like as a videographer, you kind of understand that you're going to make a bunch of crappy stuff until you start getting good.
Yeah.
And even though I've had years of practice, it's just like, I know that these first few films are not going to be amazing, but I need to do them. I need to put in that work in order to get to something really good later. So yeah, so I filmed 2 Jam for Cans events. I did the Ski Wallace events. I did the Dougie Fresh Bank Slalom event and the Snow Ghost event. That one was more photos than videos, but there will still be a film about that because I got some sick footage, an interview with Maddie Hall, and then she won. And it was like, oh man, like her insights were so like inspirational. I was like, wow, this girl is so cool. And then she goes on to win, and it was like, all right, well, there's the plot of that film right there. So, but yeah, yep, I've got one that's Falling with Style is the one that I'm doing right now that I'm editing.
Nice.
So, yep, and that's a Jam for Cans event. And,
okay.
Yeah, and most of it comes from interviewing people at the event, like the story that I pull. I just bite the bullet, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna interview strangers. So I go up to them. I'm like, so tell me about like how long have you been writing? And like it's nerve wracking, like to just go up to a total stranger and be like, hey, so tell me why you're here today, you know? And
it is, yeah.
But I'm hoping that sets me apart from other filmmakers and videographers that just film the event and it's like, oh, that was a cool event. It's like, oh, but like where's the story? Like where's the person's insight? You know, like I would love to make, I would love it if snowboarding could somehow get into the culture of like inclusion of the athletes more somehow. Like, you know how like in hockey, you'll have like a whole social media page for like the athletes and like them entering and coming, and there'll be like interviews with them. And it would be really cool to be able to really just see the whole, like a way that people could learn about their athlete and really like follow them in a way that you can root for them. Like snowboarding isn't a team sport, so it's kind of hard to like do that. You know, like hockey, you're like, oh, I love this player and this player and this player, and like they're all together. But it's different because every athlete has their own videographer for snowboarding, so it's hard to kind of collect that. But that would be really cool too. One day is to be part of a way to like really collect the athletes and showcase who they are, so people can really see like, hey, this is so and so like coming into natural selection right now. Like we're really showcasing them, and even just getting better commentators. Like I have my own opinions on commentators. There are some good ones out there. Craig McMorris is a great commentator, but like sometimes for these events, they commentate and they have no idea who this athlete is that's dropping in. They just know the name and where they're from. And it's like, get to know them. Like be like, hey, this person started snowboarding this was a big event that happened in their life. Shout out to their home mountain, and this is who they know, and like these are their, you know, like something about like a story. So I think people like that. People like stories.
I think you're onto it too. It's like it's starting right now, and I think that, you know, each photographer and videographer is like doing it like on their own right now, but I think the next step is going to be like all of them come together and collaborate together, whether it be on like a video project or whatever it may be, or working for the X Games. Like you said, like Craig McMorris is the gold standard, and he always has been. He always has been the same dude, and he always has just like announced it in a way, and he's just so good at like telling you how the trick works, but also giving like the people that do snowboard and know what it is, like the stoke, you know what I mean? And there just needs to be like more people like that. And you know, it can be hard because, you know, a person like that is kind of like once in a lifetime almost, as an announcer for our sport that does such a great job of bridging it to everybody. Finding that, I think that would be really cool to have more people doing stuff like that, and like working together and like kind of like training like maybe the younger generations to come up and they take over and announce and stuff like that. Absolutely. So awesome.
There's so many things in this industry that you can do that you don't have to even be like the star of the show to be a part of what makes it the show. So good commentators, good videographers, good photographers, athletes, sponsors, like everything, all of it wraps together.
Yeah, definitely.
Sweet.
Okay. So we're gonna get to the tail end now.
All right.
Basically I got rapid fire for you. and then we'll close it out. Okay.
All right, I'm ready.
I got some
Let's
stuff.
go. Let's do this.
Okay, Jess. So
Take the blue pill. No.
so you're vibing, you're out there riding for a day. We're gonna go into some rapid fire questions. Okay.
Great.
You're out there on an awesome day, and it doesn't matter what the conditions are. What's your go-to song for a run?
I knew you were gonna ask that. I can't remember who sings it. It's this song called Lightning. Right now, that'd be what I'd choose.
Okay.
I'll have to look it up and we can throw it up on the thing.
Let's do
so
it.
you Lightning by, there you go.
There you
go.
go.
Check it out.
Okay. You prefer pants or bibs?
Pants or bibs?
Yep.
Oh, pants. Well, pants.
Okay.
Pants. I'd probably do bibs if it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but pants.
Would you prefer glasses or goggles?
Goggles.
Goggles.
Straight
okay.
up. Always.
Let's do this.
If I could, I'd do goggles all the time for sunglasses. They're so great. It's huge visibility.
Yep. Get a little goggle tan going.
Yep.
What's been your greatest experience so far in your snowboarding career?
Meeting my husband for sure.
Okay.
I will also throw out there, I went to Mount Bachelor, the big wave challenge in 2024, which it was third year of doing it. And I didn't know that. And now it's on like 15 or something. Like it's going crazy. That was a really good experience. My mom went with me, and then they streamed it on YouTube. So then my husband was watching on YouTube at boyfriend at the time. And it was it felt like Hawaii. Like I was wearing shorts and t-shirt and I was like, yeah. That was a good day.
Bachelor in the spring is
Bachelor is the best.
the
I'm
vibes,
sorry.
dude.
Mount Hood, Bachelor. I do.
Cascades.
Yeah. Yeah. That area, Oregon. Yep.
The extended season is what I like to call it. Is like you want to go. Like we have a rider up at Schweitzer, Shred and Stefan Robles, and he's talked about going down to Hood for the spring pass for the past 3 seasons, and we were filming and riding the other day. And he's like, I think I'm gonna get that spring pass. I'm like,
do
dog,
it.
you've told me that for like the last 3 years and you never do it. He's like, I'm doing it this year. I'm like, I'm gonna hold you to it.
Hold it to it. We're watching you, Steph. You better go. That's great.
Okay, so if you could pick 3 people on an ultimate heliboarding POW day, wherever it may be, it's just like all time perfect conditions, who are the 3 people that you would take?
Travis Rice, Jeremy Jones.
Big Mountain Jeremy Jones or Jeremy
Jones.
Steele Jones?
Jeremy Jones. The only Jeremy Jones that I know. Art of Flight Jeremy Jones.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I think he's a big one. The
Big
bigger
Mountain.
name. Big Mountain.
Jones snowboards.
He's super chill.
Yeah.
And Sean White. Yeah. That's gonna be weird, but yeah, it'll be fun.
And are you gonna be riding with them, or are you gonna try and get some shots?
I will be getting some shots. I will ride with them, but I will be like, I will ride down and you tell me what jump you're gonna do and which side you're gonna hit it on, and yeah, I will be there. I will be on that side that you need me to be on.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be so sick. That'd be so fun.
Okay, so last rapid fire question, Jess, what's the worst trend in snowboarding?
The worst trend?
Worst trend. Can be anything.
I'm gonna go with the competition rating for women. I disagree with so much. If you got a half pipe and you've got judges, just have the same numbers regardless of the gender. If you're gonna give a guy a 98 and a girl a 98, it's totally different. So I would say the trend there would just be like, just have one system. It's okay if the girls aren't gonna be hitting 100 every time. That's fine. So just have it be like you can see like what it would be at and be like, yeah. So yeah, that's what I would do.
Cool. All right. Well, you heard it here.
You heard it here.
So, Jess, any final thoughts or thank yous that you want to take us out with?
Thank you for, I guess, being chill and interviewing me, and this is really cool.
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is really cool. I'm really grateful for this community. I would say like it's different than what I thought it would be, and you know, I'm really grateful for that. You know, I'm grateful for God for leading the journey, and I mean, I have faith that it's going to work out. I don't know how it's going to work out, and I don't know who's going to be next in that journey, but yeah, thanks to Domino's for believing me at one time when I was a delivery driver, helping me get to nationals.
Yeah.
Shoot, I don't know. I mean, it's just, just if you love something, just chase it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of the things I'm wearing today is from the Lake City High School Ski Club, Snowboard Club. I helped design this. So It's got Chasing Snow on it. So I helped design the font and colors and the back, and so it's just like if you love something, chase it. Like, so what if you're doing it for free for a while? Like you're gonna people will see you. They're not gonna hire you, and if you don't have anything that you're not, you know, if you're just like, oh, I'm a great snowboarder, I want to go to the Olympics one day, but I'm never gonna go out on a competition. It's like, just do it, just go, like start it, and if you don't like it, pivot. You know, you're gonna find what you like.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Well, great. Well, this has been an awesome experience, and you know, we're gonna close it with that. We'll be bringing you guys episodes every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, like we said. And other than that, we really appreciate all the listeners and the viewers. And with that, over and out.
Sweet. Thanks, Dylan. This was awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.